Welcome to another market update. This week, Bitcoin went from about 106,000 down to about 88. It's been a pretty rough week for Bitcoin. I think there's just been a lot of capitulation, a lot of people looking to de-risk, a lot of people sort of looking at what's going on in the world, especially in the US stock market, and not seeing much hope. And unfortunately, although Bitcoin's had a big rise, unfortunately this time, this is what investors decided to sell. I mean, when you look at the last couple of years, I mean, hell, when I got in, it was 18,000 back in 2021, 2022. So to be at 92,000, it's not too bad. It's not a bad place to be. Down from 126, it's a little annoying, but it's part of the game. But I think when you look sort of more broader into the macroeconomic situation, you've got NVIDIA, which makes up 8% of the S&P 500. They had earnings today, and earnings were positive, and they beat revenue by a couple percent, and their earnings per share was up double-digit percents. I think it was from, it was expected to be 80 cents, and it was something like $1.10. It was ridiculous. And, you have Jensen Huang, who comes out and says there's more demand for Blackwell than we could ever imagine. And I don't doubt that there is. But it's this competing argument where you've got guys like Michael Burry who are talking about this accounting alchemy, and everyone's changing their depreciation cycles to boost short-term profits. And guys like Peter Thiel who say the bubble is here, I don't know what's going on. But then you've got companies like NVIDIA that are just carrying the stock market. If you make up 8% of the stock market and you beat earnings, NVIDIA was up 5% today. So look at what effect that has on the whole S&P 500. I definitely think, and I said this last week, and I'll say it again, this is definitely a time to sort of have some cash on the side. I don't try to be the guy that predicts when the crash is going to happen or try and catch the falling knife. I made an educated decision and an educated statement last week to sit with cash, and unfortunately it's paid off. And now I'm in a situation where I'm slowly starting to buy back in. Am I going to throw it all on the wall at once and hope it sticks? Not necessarily. I'll, slowly DCA in over time. But it's one of those things. It's good to have a little bit of cash on the side and be ready for times like this. You want to buy when there's blood in the streets. And, when everyone, a couple of weeks ago, when everyone said we were going to $1 million a coin for Bitcoin by the end of the year, you've got to take that with a bit of a grain of salt. So we'll see you guys next week.